Welcome to another episode of One of Us Knows What They're Talking About, and the other one is you. I'm Lorie Burch, your host. Join us as we discuss and unpack wills, trusts, estate planning, and probate law in a way that's actually informative, interesting, and, well, hopefully entertaining. Because if you don't have a will, the state of Texas has one for you. Let's dive in. Okay, shall we kick this off?
We shall.
I'm in the office today. Or is this a virtual background of my office that I'm now using in the pod?
Ooh.
It's not. I'm in the office. Everything about this week feels weird. And even though when you're listening and watching this, it won't be today, but we're recording this on a holiday week right after Labor Day. And I was mentioning that I think going into 3-day weekends sound exciting. But then when you're in that week, everything feels thrown off. I almost kind of don't want to do it. And then I kind of added to the confusion because I normally work from home on Wednesdays and I am instead in the office. So left is right, up is down.
Added to your
right
own
is wrong.
confusion though, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. There were some people who agreed with the weirdness of it. So today, what are we going to talk about, Sam?
Shortcuts. Stop laughing at me, Sarah.
So do people take shortcuts in the legal profession, in our experience?
Never.
I mean, wait, what?
Never.
People don't, Sarah?
That's allowed.
Shortcuts. So what?
Wow,
So let's start there before we completely fall off into some other mysterious conversation. But what are the type of shortcuts? So estate planning, wills, trusts, probate, what are some shortcuts people take? Let's start with estate planning, because we can also talk about shortcuts with probate, can't we?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I feel like DIY, right? Wills is like a shortcut.
DIY.
I mean, yeah.
I'd say that's a big one. That's a really big
one.
People try to shortcut it. What are they trying to shortcut, do you think? Because in my experience, it just takes longer. But what are they? Why do people go to the interwebs or go to AI and decide, I'm going to create legal documents all by myself?
Well, to not have to pay for expertise on it.
I think it's quicker.
They think it's quicker. They think it's
quicker
less
for them. It's
expensive.
for their family after they die.
Oh, dropping a truth bomb. So I know we talk a lot about the dangers of DIY and the AI and even the forms and even some of the programs that we see, including, unfortunately, I mean, I guess fortunately, unfortunately, but HR departments and corporations that offer HR benefits, what I was trying to say, when it comes to legal services. And I understand the idea behind that, but in reality, I think some of the shortcuts that I'm hoping are going to be discussed today, we didn't really nail down this theme today, but end up not being shortcuts at all. And probably when it comes to legal planning, the DIY stuff is one of the greatest examples about how almost every single time this is not shorter, it's not less expensive, and it doesn't even get you where you want to go. So worst shortcut ever. Speaking of shortcuts, so this story came up recently, and it makes me giggle and feel kind of warm and fuzzy. So I recently was in Waco, Texas, with my sister Julie for Elvis Fest. And we were reminiscing about trips to Graceland and how many there have been. And there have been many, but we were talking about how many for Elvis Week. And so, which of course everybody knows is August, because it's around the anniversary of his death, which of course everybody knows is August 16th. So we're talking about trips to Graceland and Elvis Week that we had taken. And there was one where we went with my mom and my great aunt Norma. And not only was she my great aunt, but she also was a great aunt. And in fact, it's who my second child, Poppy Jean, was named after, because Jean was my great aunt Norma's middle name. So in case Sarah and Sam didn't know that, so confident that Cyntia did, that is why Poppy has the middle name Jean, Poppy Jean. So I don't know why we were just talking about this. Don't worry, this is about shortcuts. And my mom had just gotten a new Cadillac, and it's right when OnStar was a thing. And so this was before like all the different GPS or even Garmin's, I think. But it's when OnStar was a thing, and so she was like overusing it, technology abuse for like directions. And I remembered this story about how she was using the directions, and it was taking us through this neighborhood like completely out of the way, like not main streets, no highways or anything like that. And we'd all spent some time in Memphis before because of previous Elvis weeks, and we're like, where is she taking us? And my great aunt Norma said, I don't know, maybe she's from around here. And I just remember we were so tickled by that. And so now when our preferred at home GPS is Waze, although it's a love-hate relationship, but we like Waze. And that, like, do not tempt Waze with shaving 5 seconds off a route. They will have you go through the most ridiculous neighborhoods and everything. And so I always think about my great aunt Norma when it's having us go in some neighborhood. Well, maybe they're from around here. So shortcuts. Right. So what are some other what are some other shortcuts? I kind of mentioned them. There's also there's these legal services. I won't name any companies, but it's like if you sign up for, it's almost like legal insurance, and it's sold to you by people who aren't attorneys, guided by people who aren't attorneys. There's usually some law firm at some point that will maybe look at something that you've sent in, but what's missing in all of this, and you ask why does it take extra money and extra time, is because the shortcut is they're shortchanging the advice, the customization, the guidance that you're going to get, and that's what leads to it being messy. So for all of you listening to this, the reason why you need to trust the experts is because we're from around here. We know where we're going. We know what we're doing. And then also these HR benefits. And again, I think what gets confusing for people, and I understand, is that they usually are law firms that they send things off to, but it's not necessarily law firms that are going to take the time and attention to really understand what you're trying to do or what your family dynamics or circumstances are. Or they aren't firms that even know how to do estate planning. I mean, we all graduate, we pass the bar, and technically, I mean, I could represent you in a DUI case. I don't think you should hire me for that. I don't know the first thing about that. I don't know, I guess technically I could take on some toxic tort litigation, right?
You could, but why would you?
I have a law license, but I'm not from around here, so I do not know what we're doing. Oh, by the way, speaking of shortcuts and GPS, if you're ever coming to visit us at Burch Law, ask us for directions. For some reason, this is such an easy building to get to. It is on the southwest corner of Beltline and Coit in Dallas, Texas. Very, very easy. However, we see people's like GPS taking them over on Spring Creek and turning there and turning out. Like it's all sorts of weird. So just ask us where we're going because we're from around here.
Or also, it'll take you for some reason to the other end of Beltline, down like in Carrollton. That one's been one.
Huh.
We get issues. So first of all, Beltline where we are is 2 words, but other places it's 1 word. And then there's Beltline Drive, Beltline Road, Beltline, all these different things, which I've never really understood why they do that. Like especially cul-de-sacs, they'll like have Beltline Way, Beltline Road,
Yep.
Beltline Boulevard. It's like, why are you like, do you think that makes it easier? Because it does not.
Yeah. If you go east from here on Beltline, there's another, like, there's little branches off that are also Beltline something. And it's like, well, that's not helpful.
Love that.
Yeah. Yeah. No. So other types of shortcuts that we see, and you all have heard us talk about this, but bear with us because it's hard to believe this is an issue or that it's as big of an issue as is. Shortcuts in how it's signed.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what people's general perception is when it says witness 1, witness 2, notary. Like, to me, you got one witness, then you got a second witness, then you got a notary. Seems to indicate that those are necessary signatures. One of my favorite recently is someone who decided that's not necessary, so just put the NA in place of the witness signatures.
That's not how that works, people.
That's not a good shortcut. I mean, I understand you don't want to have to go get witnesses. The other shortcut we see is people get their family members to serve as witnesses.
Oh, yeah.
It's actually a very nuanced answer, because can you use family members as witnesses? Technically, sort of, kind of, maybe in some cases, but it's very messy. And 9 times out of 10, that's not going to work out for you very well. There's lots of problems with it.
One of my favorite things is whenever I'm going somewhere with Luke and he has like the GPS or he has the map for some reason, like it's not plugged into the car or anything to where I can hear it. Sometimes I'm like, okay, am I turning at this next street? And he's like, I mean, well, you could. I'm like, wait, no. What does the GPS say? He's like, well, it wants you to turn like in the street after, but if you turn here, you could get there. Like,
yeah,
you choose.
He's like,
your
yeah,
own
he would
adventure.
just wait.
Choose your own adventure.
You choose your own.
Yeah, so there's a lot of times when we get in the car and we're going somewhere we've never been before, Luke is not allowed to just have GPS or a map in hand. It has to be plugged into the car to where I can.
Yeah, if I'm ever driving y'all and Luke is navigating, I'm gonna make you do it, because I think I'd cry. I need to know what lane I'm in 3 miles before I get there.
Yeah, no,
I have
he's
to be
very
prepared.
much. Well, you could turn here. Well, actually, you could turn back there too. And I'm like,
some people go this way, and some people go that way, and some people go both ways.
You want a U-turn and go down that other street?
Make a U-turn or circling back. I made Cyntia test out the Waze voice that I currently have, which is this like corporate speak.
Oh,
and,
God.
It's real good.
It's really, it is.
I've been in the car with Cyntia when it was on.
Made me want to stop using expressions like circling back, like, or some people call it circle. Yeah, let's put a pin in that and circle back. Yeah. Or, like if there's construction ahead, let's hope this doesn't affect our KPIs, our blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Like, oh, man. But it's good. So, yes, we see a lot of shortcuts. Other shortcuts that I see when it comes to what we do is people don't realize that there are other assets that need attention. They just get a will done and they shortcut or forget that they also have things like life insurance or retirement. And those are things that you put beneficiary designations on. And the way that you assign that beneficiary actually overrides whatever your will or trust says. And quite often you need some guidance to make sure that the beneficiary designation is coordinated with what your overall plan would be. A big example of that is for people with small kids or kids of regular size, but under 18 is the point. Or in my case, large kids.
You have large kids.
Large kids, 90 plus percentile kids, like
listen,
Burch kids.
9 months and wearing 18-month-old clothes. Like she was.
It's fine.
Like, no, she was just a big kid.
Yeah, I actually think Poppy might end up being taller than Adley. She's got some
Really?
length. Just you can tell how tall a toddler is by how far to the center of a table and a counter you have to put things.
That's very fair.
It's like, what? How did you reach that? How is that possible? And then if it's got, anything where they can get a fingertip on
grabbable?
it and like get it to like
Yep.
scoot,
You're done.
just
Game
forget
over.
it. Just forget it. Like we have so much right now on our fireplace mantle,
That's so
I
high
can
up.
see it.
but she'll figure that out soon enough. She'll probably figure out how to climb on the couch to
Yes,
get
that's
to
what I was
that.
thinking.
Or, every once in a while we have this step stool in the dining room and we'll hear
Oh,
and she's like pushing it into the kitchen to like get to a counter.
Oh wow.
she knows.
She knows.
Dang.
So funny.
Yeah.
Has she gotten on
Yeah.
top of the fridge yet?
there is no top to, like, you can't get to the top of our fridge
Okay.
because
Oh,
it's
yeah.
shoved into that
It's
little
actually
nook
built in. Okay,
that
cool.
has, yeah. I'm certain one of the cats could get stuck there.
Yeah, Luke and his siblings liked to find themselves on top of the fridge. His
That's
mom did not
fun.
appreciate it.
Yeah. No, they're actually both Poppy and Adley are the worst at hiding because it's usually behind something soft and you can see the imprint of their face. And then when Adley's home, there's like one place. So it's actually my seat on the couch, but it became her seat as well because, we're buddies and we have to have our buddy time. So we sit there. But she sits there like 90% of the time. I mean, when she's sitting, that's her spot. And she'll hide. And the way that she hides is she just puts a blanket over her. Like, can you see me? And then I hear her voice coming from the blanket. Like, how
She can't see you, you can't see her.
how far do I have to go with this?
Object permanence.
Yes. Yes. So maybe it's so obvious she's throwing me off, but yes. So anyway, do you realize what got us there? Because I do. I go on tangents, but I always know how to bring us back. It has to do with children and their sizes, but I didn't really mean their sizes. I mean their ages. So if you have a young child, a minor child under 18, and you've got something set up where it says, yeah, I'd want everything to go to them, but if they're underage, then it needs to go into a trust for them. I want, my sister to be the trustee. I want age 25 and 30 to be when they can take care of it themselves. But then you go over and you add the minor child as the beneficiary on life insurance. The life insurance company is not going to care that you've got this will or trust with that set up. It's going to, first, the life insurance company, the first offer they're going to make is, we'll just hold on to the money until they're 18. Is that all right? The second issue is that, our second option, I guess, is you'd have to go to the court registry or go to the court, be put in the court registry, and at age 18, it's given to the child, which I'm firmly against 18-year-olds making any decisions basically in life, but that's for another podcast. It's too soon, I think.
It's too soon.
It's too soon. I think the late teen in my life, one day she'll be able to look back at herself and laugh, but it's too soon. So I'll reserve some of those stories because I know she is tuning into our podcast constantly. Is what?
Oh, she listens.
Hello.
Oh, I'm sure. Sarah says hello. Yeah. So it's important to make sure that you've got experts who are from around here that know how to make sure that those beneficiary designations are set up correctly. So there's also shortcuts that you can take in probate that fail miserably, but are there any other ones before we move on, team, that we can think of when it comes to wills, trusts, powers of attorney?
I do think that one worth mentioning is people think that if you just write it, like for let's say,
yeah.
like like how you can write a note for your kid for school, and that says, okay, somebody can pick them up or they're being picked up early.
Yeah.
That doesn't work for medical things
Yeah.
once you
No.
get beyond a certain age.
Yeah, that also makes me think of the one back to kids under 18, small, large, average size, but under 18. is that when people are like, well, they're the godparents, we told them that that's who we would want to take care of, like that. At least in Texas, that doesn't work. You can't tell somebody and just utter it and that have any sort of standing or effect whatsoever. Not going to work. I'm certain that if we put more thought into this, we could come up with other examples, but let's go ahead and dive into probate. So what are some probate shortcuts? And by the way, probate is the legal process that one has to go through when somebody passes away. If there's a will, if there's a trust, if there's no, it's all, and depending on assets, it's all different. But what are some shortcuts?
There's one that people think is a shortcut, but in reality does nothing. So for example, well, people think it's a shortcut. For example, let's say that you have a parent who recently passed away and they had a home, and you call up the central appraisal district and you say, hey, I am now paying for the taxes, my parent passed away. They will 100% put the taxes in your name. They will 100% mail you the stuff. They want to get paid. However, that does not change who owns the property. And a lot of people think,
Yeah.
well, I'm paying the taxes, so it's mine. It's like, well, no. No, at all.
Yeah. Remember when we had the case where the person's husband passed away and she consulted with us, and I believe it was the house, and we're like, yes, the house, you need to go through probate to make sure the house is titled in your name, that we get it transferred. And she reported back to us and said that she didn't need to do that. She found was it a non-lawyer way?
Yeah, a non-attorney way to do it.
A non-attorney way to do it. Guess what? She then passed away years later. Come to find out, she did not get the home transferred in a attorney way or a non-attorney way, whatever that was. So I think, we battle a lot with bad advice, unintentionally, I think in most cases, but bad advice, whether it's, your sister's uncle's roommate 30 years ago in Arizona was able to do XYZ, therefore you should be able to do XYZ. Or I don't really understand why financial institutions like banks, considering they never try to give helpful information, why in this case they think they're giving helpful information, telling people they can do what's called a small estate affidavit. And in a lot of cases they can't, and in some cases they should not. But to do a small estate affidavit in Texas, there's some very specific guidelines that you have to follow. It is something that you technically don't need an attorney to do for you, but you should get the attorney for the advice of whether you can do it or not, because it's not as straightforward. And even part of the statute refers to excluding the home, but it has to be a homestead. And so that's the only way it's excluded from the small estate value. And if you're the daughter and it was your mom's house, that doesn't qualify as a homestead. And so a lot of nuanced stuff. And so what happens is they make us look like the jerks, because then someone meets with us and like, yeah, I just, I want to get some help with the small estate affidavit. The bank told us that we can do that. And then we're like, well, we need to find out a little bit more. No, it's just what I need. I just need a small estate affidavit. I mean, would you call the hospital or would you call a doctor and say, yeah, I need my arm amputated. It's in a lot of pain. Well, maybe we should find out what, no, this is what I need. I just need you to do it. Well, maybe we should find out what your symptoms are and what goals you have and what you're trying. No, just cut off the damn thing. So, it just doesn't work that way. And, while you technically don't need an attorney to draft a will or trust, guess what? 99% of all probate procedures in Texas require an attorney. So you may think you're getting a shortcut on the front end, but we're going to get you later.
Wow. Okay.
Ooh.
One of my favorite stories with the banks is we had somebody who came to us and they said, okay, the bank told me I could do this to get access to the money. So in order to do, this was like a small stay affidavit case, we need to know the value of the estate. So we need to know how things are categorized. Do you want to know what the bank refused to do? Tell us the amount of money in the accounts. So we had no clue if we could actually do it, but they're like, yeah, no, you can do it. We're like, but we need this for the, for the court filings. They're like, no, we can't give you that. Ultimately, what we
Yeah.
did have to do is we did have to compel the bank to at least give us like, hey, what like amounts, so we could put
Yeah.
them on the order or like on the documents for the court. And then the judge was like, yes, we need that. Thank you.
Yeah. Another shortcut that you'll see in Texas when someone passes away is what's called an affidavit of heirship. Sarah, how do you spell heirship?
AIR. No.
It's like, oh no.
I was like, dang,
Oh, no.
Sarah, I need to check everything you've done
We
ever.
thought certainly by now.
HEIR. Ship.
Yeah. How do I can't believe we haven't done a whole segment on the wrong way people say or spell things. How do you think a lot of our clients spell it?
Oh God, do they spell it AIR?
What do
Yes,
you
they do.
think?
What does your heart tell you?
Yeah.
Or people who think that probate is the same as probation.
They'll say probation. Or instead of
what
executor, they'll
happens.
say executioner.
Yeah, they'll say executioner. I'm like, well, let's hope not.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
just some free advice for people. If you kill the person, that's probably going to disqualify you from inheriting the estate.
Drats.
Don't do that.
Sarah,
So-
you look legitimately concerned there.
I'm just
wanna talk
saying, make
about
it look like an accident.
You planning on
That's the only-
killing a
Is that
family
your
member?
advice? Make it look
Well,
like an
didn't you
accident?
all say in a recent episode that murder is something that you
Hold
should
on,
put off?
those two. Those two.
Yeah, that was our bad.
Yes, how about something you should never do?
Right.
Yeah. Listen, I
Unless it's
regret
defending
being your listener
yourself
today.
or a small child,
Oh,
regardless
well,
of
yeah.
size, just in age or size.
Are you
My
saying
kids
like
can take care of themselves.
like you're defending a small child, or you're defending yourself, comma,
I'm a small
or you're
child.
killing a small child?
Okay, okay, we're gonna need to talk about that later.
Yeah,
Just to be clear.
possibly for Sarah, because I'm pretty sure either of my kids could take her.
Oh
Yeah.
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 I think Adley would
Yeah.
like one punch her and just knock her out.
I think Adley could take her down with a look.
Oh
Yeah.
Yeah. Granted, I will say there is
Beats
nothing
me.
quite like having Adley run at you full speed and you have to catch
Yeah.
her. Oof.
Yeah.
She's got some momentum behind her. She is fast.
Yeah.
It's remarkable how much you get kicked in the face when you have small kids. Small kids of above average size. Okay, we should move on. Yes, so affidavits of heirship, something in Texas. And I will lament something to you all because I've been doing this a while, going on a couple decades. And some of these shortcuts for probate used to be pretty awesome, used to really like them, used to really work. And then somebody's got to ruin it for the bunch of us. And these things that
Ooh.
you can have, like an affidavit of heirship, where you get people to say, oh, yeah, I knew this person. I knew they had these kids. I knew they were married to this person or to this person or this person, this person. You know, I knew all that. And they sign it and then it gets recorded. That used to be a lot better alternative than it is now. But we're having issues more and more with title companies. And the like, with honoring these, accepting them. My favorite one is where if you do an affidavit of heirship for a home, and let's say you do it in the year 2000, but then you're not going to sell the home till the year 2020, and the statutory requirements of affidavits of heirship have changed in that time, then you'll get a title company telling you that the affidavit of heirship that was done in 2000 is not correct until you talk to this kid, right? And then
Are you speaking from experience here, or
a little bit. I mean,
okay.
I actually, a lot of the times I don't think that I'm going to be successful. I just want to be a little snotty to a title company. But I have to say, knock on wood, I have been 100% successful. And I think in one recent instance, I told someone that they need to do their due diligence. And if it's accurate and in compliance with the law at the time that it was signed, then it's valid now. And anyway, it's worked.
That worked. Yeah.
It worked. But again, if there had been a more formal procedure where there's a court order and there's someone appointed as executor or administrator or whatever you want to use, personal representative, what else are they called? They're called all sorts of things. But anyway, then that is going to be the highest level, not a shortcut and not the cheapest route, but ultimately the best route to make sure that you're going to be able to take care of everything that is in a decedent's name. I don't use that expression very often, but it is the technical term. Yeah. What other legal shortcuts we can think of? Wow, Sarah's really thinking.
I am
Yeah.
really thinking.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
picturing like a conversation bubble above your head,
that's what I was thinking.
but there's nothing there.
Yeah, it's just 3 dots.
Or like the loading screen where it's like the circle.
It just says
Yeah.
it just says statues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Statue.
Yeah. Well, those are some big ones. I'm sure we could come up with more. I mean, basically the, kind of takeaway here is there's lots of things that people try to do, at least in the legal world, is to really try and shorten something, do something quicker, do something less expensive. And the vast, vast, vast majority of the time that ends up backfiring, and to get it resolved in the first place would have end up saving the time and money and effort when it mattered. With that, I think that Sam and Sara, you wanted to talk about some shortcuts as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If the shortcuts is what you'll call them.
Okay, well, that was the
What do you
idea.
call them?
So, well, we tried to Google like funny shortcuts, haha, memes. We could not find anything. So
Okay.
Give me 2 seconds while y'all do this.
Yeah, go ahead. We were just finding ones where they just weren't funny. So we're doing life hacks instead because that's the closest we could find.
But they're supposed to make your life easier.
Yeah, so
Just like a
they're a
shortcut.
shortcut to make your life better or easier.
Okay, so
You want to start?
proceed.
Sarah?
Well, the first one's you, Sam.
Oh, it is. Okay. I forgot about this one. So if you're being chased, give the person who's chasing. I don't know. I'm really sorry. Okay. If you're being chased, give the person who's chasing you a pair of scissors because then they can't run after you.
Because you can't run with scissors.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you for laughing.
Okay. So you're saying, wait, I need to recap. I was slightly distracted. My apologies. If you're being chased, give the person who's chasing you a pair of scissors because you can't run with scissors. Well,
like the person who's chasing you, yeah, they can't run with them.
Like, do you hand it to them blades up? Because that's a big no-no. I mean, isn't that...
I think I just kind of throw them at them if I'm running away. And then just
the scissors? You might want to hang on to those scissors for defense, right?
Maybe I have a secret second pair in my pocket.
That's true.
Only my mom carries around that many scissors, but she calls them scissors. And you can go to my mom's house, and no matter where you are within arm's reach of at least 2 to 3 pairs of scissors.
That's like my house, but with pocket knives.
Does she just use scissors that much or like that frequently?
She thinks she does.
We have pocket knives everywhere.
That's like It's going to be one of those things I'll have to tell my kids about Nana, because they may not always remember that. Like, there were scissors everywhere, and she called them skizzers.
Oh, so good.
Yeah, all right, great. So there's another one? You have another one?
We have a few more, unfortunately.
Okay.
So
This
sorry.
one, I kind of love. I saw a TikTok where this woman, she doesn't carry a knife for protection. She carries a hammer because it's much more intimidating. And I mean, you can miss with a knife, but
I mean, you can mess with the hammers.
I guess, but it's going to hurt more.
Yeah.
Life hack.
Okay. All right. Life hack. That's what these are.
Yeah.
Completely useless life hacks by Sam
Oh,
and Sara.
100%. Yeah.
Excellent. All right. What's the next one?
Okay. If you hear weird noises at night, make weirder noises back. Or Sarah's favorite, you start barking at them.
Yeah.
Can you give us a demonstration, Sara?
Oh no.
Yeah.
No.
Actually,
You
this
walked
is
yourself
actually a
into
good-
this.
This is a good life tip. If like a dude is being creepy to you on the street, just start barking at him because he'll get freaked out. And we'll leave you alone.
Do you know this from personal experience?
No, but I've seen many stories of people actually doing it, and it works.
Like video?
Yeah. I'll see if I can find some.
Yes, I need to see this. Okay. Yeah.
If your car is making an unsettling noise, just turn your radio up. That way you can't hear
Yep. That works every time.
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Great. Good job.
I really, this next one, I need y'all to say it, and I need to say this again for the record. I regret reading these earlier.
Who's gonna read this other
Okay.
worthless life hacks by Sam and Sara?
Okay. When
Get it out, Sara. This is for our
she
fans.
called me
Or
Sarah.
Sam.
Whoa.
Sorry, Sam.
Whoa.
Sam.
When cutting bagels in half.
I'm the first person to do that.
When cutting bagels in half, put your finger
Just say it.
put your finger through the stabilization hole to keep it steady.
You can't hear what you were saying. Say it again.
Okay, I'll be serious.
Do you want me to say
You
it?
won't be serious.
Okay. When yeah, you're not when cutting bagels in half, put your finger through the stabilization.
Sara, stop. She's
Okay.
not able to do it. This is your fault, Sara.
Let me save them, but this one I really think is like, wow, y'all have reached a new level. When cutting bagels in half, put your finger through the stabilization hole to keep it steady.
Like, why is it called the stabilization hole?
It's the first time I've ever
Wait a minute.
read it.
Is that what's tickling you? Is
I
the
think
term
so.
stabilization hole?
Just the whole thing. But then when we were looking these up, Sarah found it really funny. It's like back to the science. That's why I think we found them so funny for the most part.
No,
It
that was
provided
me.
a visual.
You were.
That's what I keep thinking of. It gave
So
me a
is
visual.
Earlier today, whenever these were sent at 2:02 p.m.,
Oh.
I did walk over to Sarah's office and I just looked at her and then just kept walking.
Oh,
All
so
right,
good.
I believe there's one more useless life
There
hack
is.
shortcut by Sam and Sara, and it is
Yes, when your tires are bald, just retread your tires easily with a Sharpie.
I can't believe you didn't say put a wig on it.
Put a wig on it.
Wait,
That's not how tires work, Lorie. Come on.
Neither is
why did that take me so long to get?
a toupee.
Yeah.
See, I thought they would have at least done one of the ones like if your
Chia
tire
pet
was boiling
seeds?
water every time, just boil a few gallons at the beginning of the week and freeze it for later. Like I thought they would do something like that.
That if you had said that, Sarah would be like, that's a good idea.
Like, whoa.
Whoa. And then she'd say, wait a minute. Did you find another one, Cyntia, since this is all they have to offer?
So sorry.
I think this is also a life hack, but this is going the way of them too. If you sleep till noon, you only have to pay for 2 meals instead of 3. I guess that's a shortcut.
Yeah.
That sounds very Sam and Sara like.
What was the one that
Yeah.
was like, if you break your arm in 2 places, don't go back to those places?
That's good. Why can't you come up with more like that instead of the stabilization hole?
There's one on here. Fill your arms with puppies so no one can ask you for help.
True.
There's just a drawing of a man holding puppies.
That's
a good one.
just sage advice right there.
Oh, if you stir coconut oil into your kale, it makes it easier to scrape into the trash.
Fair. But why would you ruin the coconut oil?
Hold on. Are you having a crappy day? Put on sunglasses. Now you're having a crappy evening.
Good.
Aw, that's
All
a
right.
nice one.
One more, Cyntia. Bring us home.
You want to turn your drink into diet? No problem. Just push the button on the lid.
Great. Great, everybody. Well, as you can see, just like real life hacks. Oh, you want another one? Come on, Cynthia.
Oh,
Give you one more. This is an encore.
Add a touch of magic to your cold by putting glitter in your mouth before you sneeze.
Ooh, like rainbow glitter. You can sneeze like a unicorn.
Bad. Oh no.
God.
Oh,
Okay,
well,
some of these are my
here it
just
is.
hot takes. If your phone screen is too small, put it in water. It will magnify the screen up to 200%.
Don't do that.
That's a bad idea, everybody.
Hold on. Hey, Lorie.
What?
You have a kid, so this might be good for you. This is use this tip to help you save money. My nephew is turning 4 today, but since money is kind of tight, we're just not going to tell him it's his birthday. Okay, Sarah, cut that one out.
I've got a good one that I used on Adley. Because I told you how we sit in our buddy seats on the couch. I got up, and when I was in the kitchen, I got some M&Ms. And when I sat back down, she looks at me. She's like, "What you eating?" And I said, "Broccoli." And she's like, "Ew, gross."
Hold on, I think Sarah, and I'm just giving y'all some life advice at this point. Sarah, Sam, sink full of dirty dishes. Visitors imminent. Put some clean dishes in the drying rack. Now it looks like you're working on it.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah, I'm gonna need y'all never to bring something up with a stabilization hole ever again. Thank you.
So as you can see, like just like shortcuts with legal planning and probate, there's also a number of really bad shortcuts when it comes to life hacks that Sam and Sara, now Cyntia, have shared with you. Thanks for listening. And just to cover all our bases about what you just heard, I'm sorry and you're welcome. Make sure you subscribe so you never miss an episode. And tell your friends about us. We do webinars and live events. The best way to stay up to date is to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. Links are in the show notes. If there's a topic you'd like us to cover, maybe you have a question you'd like us to answer, or maybe you just want to say hi, hit the link in the show notes or go to burch-law.com/podcast and fill out the contact form.
Much better.
Yeah, I thought that had a lot of energy.